Welcome to Martech Legacy. I'm your host Varsha Sarkar, and the topic for today's episode is best practices for LinkedIn marketing and networking. Our guest for today is Divya Venkatesan, who is the head of marketing at SignEasy. Welcome to our show, Divya.
Thank you so much, Varsha. Good morning to you, and thanks for having me here.
Good morning to you too. I'm glad that you're here. Hope we'll get to learn quite a lot today in this episode. Starting off, I wanted to ask you, how do you go about developing a LinkedIn marketing strategy right from the beginning?
For SignEasy or for any brand, like per se?
For any brand, it would be great if you use Sign Easy as a case study.
So I'll come to SignEasy in a bit, but I think if you are starting out in LinkedIn as a brand, it's very important to understand what you need out of LinkedIn as an organization, right? Because there are many things you can gun for. You could use it as a demand gen or a lead generation channel. You could use it for brand awareness, or you could use it even for recruiting and talent branding, right? So I think it depends on which stage of what stage your company is at and what you want out of it. All of these three things can be done, but I'm a little bit biased. I would always say invest in your brand. Gun to build a great brand, and like tell authentic stories, put out who you are, especially organically, before you want to get something else out of it, right? Because I feel like lead gen and talent branding, they're all byproducts of having a great brand in the first place, right?
Yes.
Have a great brand, your prospects get to know you the right way, your employees get to know you the right way, potential candidates, customers, all of that works up. So I think it's important to know what you want out of LinkedIn. That's number one. Number two is knowing your target audience really well. Who is your ICP? For horizontal product like SignEasy, we serve many departments within an organization, right? We are industry agnostic. Or even department agnostic per se. Everybody signs contracts. So we have like 4 or 5 personas within an organization who sign contracts, manage contracts, right?
Right.
So having your ICP laid down clearly is important. Once you know them, then you can start planning your content strategy around it. I would say you have to give it at least 3 to 6 months to even set up your LinkedIn profile the right way. It's not a joke. It's very, very cluttered right now.
Yes.
To have the ICP laid out, your content strategy can focus on how do you tell stories that appeal to your audience. If you are lucky and you have just one persona that you're going after, it makes it a lot easier. You just say HR is your target audience, right?
Right.
You just start creating stories that they will resonate with. And the thing about LinkedIn now is um, that brings me to my next point is company pages alone do not work anymore. Right?
Yeah.
If you really are serious about LinkedIn, you need to take employee advocacy very seriously. You need to know that even if you are a company of 50, you need to have 10 people in your company who are very active on LinkedIn, because those 10 people are the ones who are going to get you those impressions and likes and engagement.
Right.
You can keep posting whatever you want as a company. There are very little chances that it will stand out, right?
Yeah.
Because LinkedIn algorithm is changing and they are favoring a lot more personal profiles than company profiles, right?
Right.
I would say if you are starting out, you have an advantage. Identify people who already like telling stories, who want to build a personal brand, who can become champions for you in different ways, right? Tell the story through them. Make them the hero, right? In my company, I have my head of HR who is brilliant. Like he is my brand ambassador, right? So I use him all the time for marketing. So the employee advocacy comes next. I think beyond that, once you stabilize and you build a decent brand and people trust your brand, it's also important to keep in mind what kind of personality comes out on LinkedIn, because you can keep saying the boring things, nobody will bat an eyelid, right? So
Right.
it's good to know what your brand's personality is and infuse that on LinkedIn. I have seen some brands be very creative on LinkedIn, right? So that is something you can do. And beyond that is what I would say, when you start scaling a little bit and you have budgets for paid marketing, only then you should even think about lead gen, because lead gen happening organically is very, very, very rare.
Right.
Right. So when you have some budgets, you can gun for lead generation ads, and you can start testing out some messages and then seeing what is, because that will give you the reach. Organic will not give you reach. It will take its time to give you reach, but paid can be a quicker way to experiment few things. You have your audience set,
Right.
you have the messaging that you want to test out. Okay, put it out and see what happens, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
also expensive. So you need to like take your bets cautious. Till
Right.
now, I would say these are some things we can keep in mind when we are starting out as a brand. For SignEasy, when I joined, if I'm not wrong, 60, 70K people following
Oh,
them.
wow.
So
Okay.
it has a great presence on LinkedIn over the years. That's because of the culture we have built over the years, and a lot of it is, to be honest, it's very talent branding sort of
Mm-hmm.
an audience, right? People want to work for SignEasy, so they
Mm-hmm.
follow us, right? And also, I think I have to give credit to the HR team. They've been exceptional in building that kind of culture, and
Right.
so people want to like follow us and know what's happening. Now, how do I use this channel for marketing? To talk
Mm-hmm.
to our prospects and our customers, right?
Right.
That ratio is what we have been trying to shift, and we are trying to do that. So we are trying to put out more stories that will appeal to our audience. Our markets are predominantly North America, right? US. We are a US serving company, right? Most of our customers are there. So we are trying to create content that appeal to our prospects. We are trying to identify influencers who can get us that reach there, right? We are trying to work with thought leaders in our space who
Right.
can, like help us identify better with legal ops teams or finance teams or HR teams or sales teams. For instance, a month ago we did a webinar with John Barrows, like who's a big name in sales.
Right.
Love, like big fan, right? I just love the conversation, and it also told me what is working in LinkedIn these days, because he showed up and he was just his most authentic self. Like there was no like there was no formality, there was no boring talk, and he used a lot of words, but I loved it, right? It was so
Right.
refreshing to have a conversation with a sales guru or whatever you want to call him. He's amazing sales
Mm-hmm.
coach, and I know that my audience will love that, right?
Right.
The people, the sales persona that buys Sign Easy. So I feel like that's always a good strategy to leverage influencers in your domain, in your persona. So
Mm-hmm.
these are some things that we are trying to do at Sign Easy. But at the end of the day, LinkedIn algorithm is its own god, and we are all praying.
So, Divya, what would you suggest to a new company that wants to create an authentic brand that will completely resonate with their ICP? How should they go about it?
Yeah, I love this question. This is my favorite question. So I think there are three parts to it. And all three are very important. There is the brand story,
Mm-hmm.
there is the brand personality, and there is the brand positioning. Okay.
Right.
All three are very key elements to building an authentic brand in whatever space you want to create it. The brand story is, what is your origin story? Why did you come into this world? Where are you going? Like, why do you exist, right? What is your purpose of existing here, right? Your brand story has to be extremely strong. Since for Sign Easy, my founder was vacationing in Mexico in a beach when he received a job offer, and he had to sign it. And he had no clue. He had to look for printers. He had to go ruin his vacation, and all of that.
Right.
That put this seed in his head that what, signing should be convenient, right?
Mm.
Where we are, it shouldn't be. He had to print out, scan,
Right.
fax, that, right? It's a great story.
Yeah.
Today we are something else. We started as a mobile app, but today we are a
Mm-hmm.
content management platform, very full featured, serves businesses
Mm-hmm.
and all of that. But the need was still to have a convenient way to interact with the world and make important agreements happen. That is the fundamental need, right? So your story has to be really strong. Why do you exist as a brand? Take Canva,
Mm-hmm.
for instance, right? It's beautiful. I mean, I have struggled with design forever, and I think I'm a creative person. Canva showed me I can design beautiful things and not depend on a designer, right?
Mm,
Just
yes.
strong story. That is number one, right? Your brand story has to be right. The second thing is your brand personality. Now, this is very hard to crack. It has to come from a very, first of all, your leadership has to be very authentic and clear about what they want. Okay. If
Right.
you founders, if you have key leadership, right? You it has to come from, think about your brand as a human. It has to come from
Mm-hmm.
that personality. It should
Right.
have unique voice. It should have unique tones of voice, right? I always tell people that my voice remains the same always. There are some things that will stand out as Divya, but my tone will change based on the situation. Uh,
Hmm.
in some situations, I will be assertive. In some situations, I'll be empathetic. In some situation, I'll be caring. In some situation, I'll be curt, right?
Right.
So, brand personality is just like that. It will come from your company's core values. What are your non-negotiables? How do you
Hmm.
operate? Because in every there will be difficult moments, and that is what will break or make who you are as a brand. How you respond to. How do you hire? How do you hire? How do you handle layoffs? How do you let someone go? How do you have difficult conversations? How do you resolve conflicts? How do you celebrate something, right? So, all of this, how do you handle a difficult customer? All of this contributes to your brand personality. That is number two, very important. And this may change over time. After 5 years, you may realize that I have evolved as a human being, or just like a human being, I have evolved as a brand. I think I need a new personality now. That is how brand refreshes and brand revamps
Right.
happen. Number two. Number three is a little bit more marketing, not just brand positioning. I feel like only if you have your story and personality in place, you should even think about your positioning, the market you're operating in, who are you serving, who is your audience, and who are you competing with, right? With all this knowledge in place, now you are a unique brand, right? Now
Yes.
you have to think about, okay, if I'm a contract management player, I'm competing with these companies in this market. This is the reality. What is the difference that I bring in for my prospect or for my customer, right, to stand
Yeah.
out? So I feel like if you have all these pieces in place, you become an authentic brand. But this is very easy to say, very hard to achieve.
Yeah.
But you have an advantage if you're starting off, because you can have these things clearly in place. Only when you scale, challenges happen, right? It's very
Mhm.
hard to maintain that story, maintain the personality, and also figure out the right positioning for the brand.
Coming to my next question, Divya, can you share a success story where LinkedIn played an important part in your marketing? And were there any challenges that you faced with LinkedIn specifically?
I will go back to employee advocacy. I think in a couple of occasions it has worked for us at Simonzi. December 2022, Jan 2023, we did a 100 million campaign. 100 million contracts were processed on our platform, and we wanted to do a big brand campaign over it, right?
Hmm.
So we did a Nasdaq ad on Times Square. We did a billboard in the San Francisco 101 highway. Now these are all big marketing investments, right?
Yes.
And what we realized that, and we came up with some creative ways to leverage LinkedIn for it, right?
Hmm.
We asked all our friends and well wishers from the Bay Area to capture a picture of it and share, right? Some
Oh,
of them did it themselves, but some of them we just became shameless. We're like, hey, go do this for us, you know? And
okay.
because it's the first time we have a billboard, it's a big deal for us, right?
Right.
This and they did, and it was so that got us a lot of engagement and impression, which would have not happened if I had just done it from the Sign Easy account, or if it had just been our employees posting about it, right?
Right.
Of course our employees also posted about it a lot. We got a lot of engagement, but them doing it, especially in our target audience, where our target audience lives, right, USA,
Mhm.
it really helped boost it. Another very creative thing my founder did, which is very thoughtful, I felt, was he posted a picture of it. This was another billboard, not that one. I'm very proud of that billboard. So he
Okay.
put a picture of it and he says, hey, we have this. What are your thoughts? We have this on 101. Like, what are your
Mhm.
thoughts? Like, give us feedback. See, it's a very risky thing to do because people
Yeah.
have opinions on everything. And
Yeah. It could have gone negatively.
yeah, it could have gone negatively. People could have come at me saying, why not, right? It's okay. And we got a lot of positive feedback. We got some advice also, but
Mhm.
everybody likes giving advice, right? It's okay.
Yes.
We can take that. So that also got a lot. I thought it was very creative. Even when we did the Nasdaq ad, so it was a big moment for our CEO also, right? 100
Yeah.
million contracts. So we did like sort of a documentary style video of him driving to that place, like we were waiting for the ad to come up, and we shot
Right. Right.
it. So I feel like putting yourself out there works, like being brave works on LinkedIn. It's
Hmm.
to say, oh hey, what do you think, right? Don't be so guarded. I
Right.
I think that's, I also like, it's a community, right? Like interact
Hmm.
with the community, engage with the community, like ask people, hey, can you share this for us? Hey, can you do this?
Hmm.
right? It's okay. And they will not always do it or not only do it positively, like I said. They may share and say, "How could they have been better?" Or they'll say, logo should be bigger. We've all heard that, right? So,
Yes.
but I think thinking about LinkedIn as a community helps.
Right, right. I know this is quite a simple question, but when you are a new marketer starting off, this is for them specifically. How do you approach connecting with industry leaders and influencers on LinkedIn? What's the simplest way?
See, don't forcefully connect with anyone. Okay.
Hmm.
First, see who you really respect and you can connect with. Because I feel like LinkedIn is at a place today where people are trying really hard. Some of them are authentic, some of them are engagement seekers, right?
Yes.
There are a lot of stories that don't make any sense to me. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things, there are advice from every corner. Do this, do that, this worked for me, and all this, right? I feel like it may be a little bit of an information overload.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're starting out, don't focus on connecting with a lot of people. Okay, just like curate your list, because I feel like every day when I open my LinkedIn, I want to see people I want to see. I want to hear from people I want to hear from, right? And
Right.
sometimes spills over and I find new people. That's fine. So don't focus so much on finding the right people. I would say focus on what you want to say. Focus on who you are. So
Right.
I believe that whatever you put out, you attract. So
Mm.
if you have certain things that you want to focus on, like within work, maybe you want to talk about specifically demand generation or specifically
Mm-hmm.
sales enablement or I don't know, graphic design, right? And then there'll be some personal things about you. You should also bring that to the forefront. Like maybe you want to talk about productivity hacks or you want to talk about spirituality. I don't know what it is. You want to talk about feminism, whatever it is, right?
Right.
Have a set of things that topics that interest you in
Mm.
professional and personal life. Bring it all together and you start posting things. You start there. Okay. Like
Mm.
start building your profile based on that. And I assure you, over time, you will attract the right people and the right people will find you, and you will LinkedIn will also start showing you posts from people like that, right? Once the
I
algorithm.
guess more relevant profiles from your industry.
I'm a little wary of anybody who calls themselves a thought leader, uh,
Yes.
influencer. So you can make out from the quality of what they have to say. And
Right.
one thing I also do is stay away from negativity. Like I don't like sarcasm. I don't like
Mhm.
digs posts that take a dig on somebody or another brand. I feel
Right.
if you have feedback, if you really want to help, you can always DM that person and say, I noticed this about your website. Do you want?
Mm-hmm.
I think those are the kind of people I would attract and connect with. But it's been great. Like just I started posting on LinkedIn only from a few months regularly, and I have found the most amazing people like who I really resonate with, right? And I
Right.
have met them outside of LinkedIn in person, and
Mhm.
it's really helped.
Right, right. It's a similar story with me. I started posting from a year, and I have connected with wonderful people there. Like I got to learn quite a lot from the industry, have attended quite a lot of webinars from LinkedIn. So it's quite useful that.
How long have you been doing this webinar?
So the podcast I have been doing since past September or October. So it brings me to my final question. What are your top tips for creating most effective LinkedIn ad campaigns? Because that's something a lot of companies struggle with.
Like I said, make sure you have enough budgets because
Mhm.
LinkedIn is not it's an expensive platform if you compare it with Google Ads or something else, right? And also, for an ad to work effectively, you need to
Mhm.
have great copy, you need to have great design, you need to have the right target audience set. These three
Right.
pieces are crucial. If one of them also don't work, it will not work, right?
Yeah.
Now, also LinkedIn, what I've seen, one of the pitfalls I've seen teams do is that they focus so much on copy, they focus so much on design, and then the ad doesn't even work. And you don't know why. You don't know why because it could be the audience, it could be copy not landing, it could be design not being okay, anything, right?
Mhm.
So I always tell my team that anything you do on LinkedIn or even Google Ads for that, anything you do on advertising, put out the MVP first. Like, like the first version, right? The most decent version you can produce, put it out first. Test the messaging, test the audience. See if
Right.
the messaging is a match for your audience, if you're getting some traction out of it, if
Mm-hmm.
you're getting it, if it takes off, if it picks up, then you focus on creating amazing ads, uh,
Right.
designing amazing ads, right? I think that is so that speed of experimentation, we give ourselves 2 weeks. 2 weeks, if you are not getting traction, or
Mm-hmm.
give ourselves 1 week actually, not even 2 weeks, we'll try changing the audience, we'll try changing the copy. Give it enough attempts, and if you feel like it's not working, scrap it and move on, right? But say
Mm-hmm.
it picks up, right? I'll give
Right.
you an example. Say you want to write, you want to do pricing ads, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going against a much bigger competition, and you know that a specific set of maybe startups or SMB will your pricing will appeal to them better.
Mm-hmm.
Direct. Keep it very direct and say this is our price, this is their price. And
Right.
see if they land, right? If they do land, then you go creative. Like my team will come and say, hey, let's do a Coke, Pepsi sort of ad, or
Mm-hmm.
McDonald's, Burger King sort of ad. I'm like, do it, but show me some initial traction, right? I think that's what for us. The other thing also, like I said, keeping the messaging very direct works. Because LinkedIn, I feel so we also see paid ads, right? And
Mm-hmm.
most of the paid ads that I stop to look at are things that are very direct. Like they'll tell me this is a case study or this is a demo or things like that. I think those things work. The third thing is I've also seen some creative ads. Like I think this is not something I've experimented with, but I feel like there is merit here. Those old style newspaper ads.
Yes.
You will have like a bunch of copy and maybe like one creator, or it will be like a long text.
Yes.
I think those have a potential to do well. I have
Mm-hmm.
not tried this myself. I would like to sometime, but I feel like because I think it will disrupt the system and shock the system a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We are
Yes.
so used to optimizing for ads and algorithm, right? We'll be like CTA should be here. This is how the format should be. This is how the color should be. What if you just shock your audience a little bit? I have a feeling this will work. Yeah, I think that is something worth trying.
Right, right. Thank you so much, Divya, for this really fun and insightful conversation. Thanks a lot for taking your time out. This was very informative. And this concludes our today's episode of Martech Legacy. If you have liked it, then please do like and subscribe to our channel. And please do follow Divya. I'll be linking her LinkedIn channel right here. And until next time, thank you.